I just want to bring three changes. One is the restoration of relationships. A major challenge for us is to rebuild relationships that were strained or neglected over the past years. As you are aware, we have already begun work on this. 3 weeks ago, we visited the Prime Minister's office. Last Thursday morning, we visited the Commander of the RFMF office. And yesterday, we visited the leader of the opposition. We will continue to do some visitation to consolidate the Vanua and the church. The building of a relationship with other churches is also important. Over the past years, we have been working together with a group called ECREA and the Roman Catholics since the time of the late Archbishop Nakada to discuss ecumenism in a very concrete way. How we, as different branches of the same tree that is Christ, can have fellowship with each other, and especially how we can work together and speak with one voice on important issues affecting preaching. We have been participating in the Prayer Church Leaders Social Gathering, where we have been discussing with many of the other church friends about working together for the theme of unity. Over the past year, we have been working within the Fiji Council of Churches, trying to strengthen this Fiji Council of Churches because it also went through some difficult times. We are doing this with our fellow members, and now to extend FCC beyond traditional membership so that we can bring everyone together. The Fiji Council of Churches is renewing herself as well, reviewing its constitution to make it more inclusive so that hopefully other churches who have been left out, something that has led to the forming of the ACCF, can join. This is our commitment to the prayer of Jesus that they may all be one. In our meeting, our very last meeting in the Fiji Council of Churches was held in our own office, especially in our own meeting room. The Constitution was passed on this. We are also told to love and build a relationship with others, those outside of the body of Christ. It is my hope as President that we will also be able to meet with other and have dialogue with the leaders of two main non-Christian religious groups, the Hindus and the Muslims communities this year, and how we can walk together in this journey. In this process of rebuilding relationships, our relationship with the Vanua continues to be the one that we value most and need to strengthen. The Vanua is an important part of our ministry, and we hope that the Vanua will continue to be in our hearts and in our minds as part and parcel of this journey. At the same time, we are called to practice love in a practical way that impacts the Vanua. Christian Fijian, we need to be inclusive in our understanding of the Vanua. We include all those that are of other ethnic groups that live in our Vanua. My mission is that the Methodist Church's relationship building process must not be one that engages not only with government or certain community, but engages everybody in Fiji. The challenge 2, the new government policies. Another challenge that we face is the issue raised by new government policies on development and education. The government has shown itself to be committed to developing Fiji. The church is very appreciative of the commitment to develop, and our hope is that it will remain committed to develop our nation. At the same time, we remain hopeful that these developments will not harm everyone. We cannot afford to have developments at the cost of God's creation. The case of the bauxite mining in Goa is a good example here of what can happen when we only look at short-term monetary benefits and ignore the consequences to the world, to the land, to the environment, and to the people. Other concerns in these areas are the destructions of mangroves on Dong, which are an important part of our island ecosystem, and the overfishing of fishermen reef on the Sasala. In my home island, there is a lot of Sasala gathering going on, and we are a little bit frightened of that. Last year, we supported the call to stop eating power or the loan during their breeding seasons, so that we can encourage our members to take on the responsibility for protecting and allowing our natural food source to vanish. We as a church must embrace the call to be good stewards of creation, so that we can challenge others to do the same. This also means being good stewards of our bodies. I'm happy that this week the Ministry of Health team is here to do the screening for NCDs for us, and will present a report of a proposal for health awareness in our divisions later this week. I think you heard that Dr. Toby Mel yesterday when he spoke to us before dinner, mentioning the same issue as well. There are also rural and urban types of development. Recently, we have heard of high-rise building being planned for Suma, some as high as 30 or 40 stories. While such developments leads to employment in building industry, safety is important. As we call Methodist and the nation to take care of the environment, we must also call on them to listen and pay attention to nature. We must encourage proper planning of our communities, keeping in mind the cyclones, the floods, the earthquakes. Fiji is prone, especially in the light of increasingly intense weather patterns caused by climate change. The Balancing Act in development is not just a matter of sustainability, but equality. By this I mean that we must also encourage development for all sectors of the community. We are grateful for the rural development being undertaken, such as roads, which will open up new access to services for many communities. Educational issues pose another challenge. The newly elected Minister for Education has brought in a number of new policies, some of which we are fully supported with. However, we have some difficulties with the lack of consultation relating to the development, to the management, and the policies of community and religious groups manage schools. For the Methodist Church in Fiji, as with other churches and religious groups, education is part and parcel of our mission, part and parcel of our work. It is as old as the spreading of the gospel in Fiji. While we understand the separation of religion and the state for the ministry to distance itself from this faith-based school to us to serve the community as an expansion of our faith. You local guys and plural as chairs and managers of various school committees and boards, we need to be aware of these challenges. Please work with the church's education department, the Secretary for Development, and the Secretary to develop an understanding of the new policies and hopefully a solution to these issues so that we can be active stakeholders in our schools and not just merely a passive landlord. We need to have a balanced partnership with government in this area. Economically, the fringe benefit tax, some of you have heard of this already, was a challenge for us. But we are grateful that the government has understood the struggle and the sacrifices of many men and women who answer the call to serve God and given through the fringe benefit tax Act number 6 of 2014, an exemption in the fringe benefit tax to those faith communities registered under religious body regulations or registration act. This is good news because the news was that every church built its own budget, all of which should be taxed. The Teaching Council of Churches was very strong on this, and a letter was written by the heads of the churches to government to help this situation. And we're thankful that they have written this book. Challenge 3, the Methodist University. Internally, the church has been challenged by the ongoing vision for a Methodist university. For the last few years, we have heard that this is in the pipeline. A university is a very big step from a college. It is, in fact, a lot of steps. We thank God that these steps are now beginning to be taken. One of these steps is the separation of MLPC and YPD, as I have mentioned earlier. This will enable Unilever to be one of the schools of the university for the Theological College in Poland. It was mooted by 2016, which will have our own master's degree program, which will be the beginning of our university. However, it is more likely that this will probably happen in 2018 or even 2020, giving the Unilever more time to train the necessary local teaching staff to necessary local teaching staff to PhD level, prepare the curriculum and the infrastructure required, etc. At the same time, we need to understand that the idea of a university is much more than what is offered at W-level. W-level, of course, remains the center of the church's education program, but there are other aspects of education, other schools that we established or integrated into our university in other parts of the country to broaden our educational program, such as NOSO. Broadening the scope of education and localization offered from the Methodist University beyond theological education and make program accessible to our people in the West, in the North. This will take time and money. In the late 1990s, there was an idea of bringing together BTC, MLTC, and giving the deaconess training under the one umbrella as the College of Ministerial and Lay Commission. There will need to be other challenges or other colleges, such as teacher training. Although the Methodist Church began teacher training in Fiji, at present we only have left with us is the kindergarten teacher training. And this has also been given out to others at the USP and at the NIM. We need to improve on that and build up our own primary school teaching, teacher training and so on in a small way. There are also opportunities in other vocational training programs in the model of Naruso. The question of what happens to the Maha Mission Hospital after the government pulls out leads to an opportunity of using it as both a nursing school and a senior citizens home, training professional caregivers and in conjunction with the new government hospital.